Have you ever felt like others are making decisions for you? Like you're constantly trying to meet someone else's expectations? Why does it feel so hard to stand up for yourself, to say no, or to make choices that align with your own values? These moments come to all of us, leaving us wondering, why do we give our power away so easily? Imagine a situation where someone criticizes you, and instantly, your mood shifts. Their words affect your entire day. Does that sound familiar? It's like their opinion holds more weight than your own sense of peace. We often let external forces dictate how we feel, how we act, and even how we see ourselves. But it doesn't have to be this way. For example, think about the last time someone made you feel small with a simple comment. Maybe it was a remark at work or a casual statement from a friend. Without realizing it, you may have carried that negativity with you, replaying their words over and over. But what if you didn't let that comment hold any power? What if you could stay in control of how you feel, no matter what others say or do? Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we dive deep into life's challenges through the lens of ancient wisdom and mindfulness. In this series, we'll explore how you can reclaim your personal power, guided by the teachings of Buddhism. We'll learn to stay centered, no matter what life throws our way. Before we dive in, we have a quick request. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribes. So please, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us continue creating valuable content for you. And we promise this series will be worth it. Now, let's get into it. In Buddhism, there's a powerful understanding of self and the forces around us. The idea that we are the source of our own suffering and our own happiness is key. You might think that circumstances or people cause your struggles, but it's often our own minds that give these things power. When you give someone else control over your emotions, you're essentially handing over your inner strength. Buddhism teaches us that everything starts within. The power to respond instead of reacting. The power to be present in the moment, no matter what happens around you. This mindset doesn't come overnight, but it's something you can develop through practice. The first step is awareness. Start by noticing when you're letting others influence how you feel. It could be a boss, a family member, or even a stranger. Pay attention to the moments when their opinions or actions begin to affect your mood or decisions. You'll find that, more often than not, it's not the event itself but your reaction to it that creates discomfort. As we move through this series, we'll break down these moments and explore Buddhist practices that help us regain control. From mindfulness to meditation, Buddhism offers tools to help you stay centered and strong, even in the face of challenges. So, let's embark on this journey together and start reclaiming our power. Understanding the nature of power and control. Imagine you're holding a rope in your hand. On the other end of that rope is someone else, a boss, a partner, a friend, maybe even a stranger. Every time you give in to what they want, every time you let their words, actions, or opinions affect you, it's like handing them more and more of that rope. Over time, they have all this control, pulling you in whatever direction they choose. But what if you could keep hold of your end of the rope, no matter what they say or do? Let's start with a very basic question. What does it mean to have power? Often, people think of power as something external, a title, money, status, or control over others. But in Buddhism, true power comes from within. It's not about controlling people or situations. It's about having control over your own mind, your own responses, and your own emotions. It's about inner peace, even when the world around you is chaotic. Now, think about your daily life. How often do you feel like others are in control of what you do or how you feel? Maybe your boss makes a decision that frustrates you, and suddenly your whole day is ruined. Or maybe a friend makes a comment that sticks with you for hours, even days. Without realizing it, we give away our power in these small, everyday moments. We let others' actions decide our mood, our thoughts, and even our sense of worth. Buddhism teaches us that this type of control is an illusion. No one can truly control you unless you allow it. The only real power they have is the power you give them. The key to regaining your inner strength is to stop letting external forces dictate your inner world. This doesn't mean ignoring people or becoming indifferent to the world around you. It means cultivating the ability to stay steady and calm, no matter what happens outside of you. Let me share a simple example. Imagine you're driving and someone cuts you off. You might feel an immediate surge of anger. Your heart races, and maybe you even shout or honk the horn. For a moment, that person has power over you. They've changed how you feel, how you react. But if you pause, if you take a breath and let the feeling pass, you'll find that the situation isn't as big as it seems. The car that cut you off doesn't have to control your emotions. You have the choice to let go and remain peaceful. This is the essence of understanding power from a Buddhist perspective. It's not about changing others or controlling the world. It's about mastering your own mind. The Buddha teaches that suffering comes from attachment to ideas, to outcomes, to people. When we're attached, we feel like we need things to go a certain way in order to be happy. But the truth is, nothing outside of us can bring lasting happiness. Real happiness comes from within, from letting go of the need to control things that are beyond our power. Have you ever noticed that when you stop trying to control something, the situation often resolves itself? This is the power of non-attachment. It doesn't mean you stop caring or that you give up. It means you stop letting external events dictate your peace of mind. You realize that no matter what happens, you have the ability to remain calm, centered, and in control of your inner world. Let's think about another everyday situation. Imagine you're at work and a colleague criticizes your idea. Immediately, you might feel defensive or hurt. You start to doubt yourself, maybe even feel angry. But in that moment, who is really in control? Is it your colleague? Or is it your reaction to their words? Buddhism teaches us that the real power lies in how we respond. You can either let their words throw you off balance, or you can choose to stay grounded, knowing that their opinion doesn't define your worth. This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, aware of your thoughts and feelings without being swept away by them. When you're mindful, you notice when you're starting to lose control. You see the emotions rising, but instead of reacting immediately, you take a breath, step back, and observe. This gives you the space to choose your response instead of being driven by knee-jerk reactions. In Buddhism, there's a powerful teaching called non-reactivity. This means not letting external events or other people dictate your emotional state. It's about becoming like a deep, still lake. No matter how strong the wind blows, the surface may ripple, but the depths remain calm. This doesn't mean you never feel emotions. It means that when emotions arise, you don't let them take over. You acknowledge them, but you don't let them control you. This idea can be incredibly freeing. Imagine if you could move through life without being thrown off balance by every little thing. Someone's rude to you? It doesn't affect your peace. Things don't go as planned? You stay calm and adapt. This is the true power that Buddhism offers us, the ability to remain strong, grounded, and in control of our inner world, no matter what happens around us. So, how do we start to reclaim this power? The first step is awareness. Pay attention to the moments when you feel out of control. Notice when someone's words or actions begin to affect your mood or thoughts. You'll often find that it's not the event itself, but your reaction to it that causes discomfort. By becoming aware of these moments, you can begin to change your response. The next step is practice. Buddhist teachings often emphasize the importance of practice in transforming the mind. You won't become unshakable overnight, but with time and dedication, you can strengthen your inner world. Meditation is one powerful tool for this. By sitting in stillness and observing your thoughts, you learn to let them pass without getting caught up in them. Over time, this mindfulness carries into your daily life, helping you stay calm and focused in the face of challenges. Another important practice is letting go of attachment. Remember, suffering comes from attachment to things being a certain way. The more we can release our need to control everything around us, the more freedom we gain. This doesn't mean giving up on your goals or becoming passive. It means understanding that true power doesn't come from controlling others or outcomes. It comes from controlling your own mind. As we continue this journey, we'll explore more tools and teachings from Buddhism to help you reclaim your inner strength. By understanding the nature of power and control, you can begin to shift your perspective. You don't need to let others dictate how you feel. You have the ability to stay grounded, peaceful, and in control of your own mind, no matter what life throws your way. Let's keep moving forward and dive deeper into how we can apply these principles to everyday life. The path to true inner power is one step closer. The concept of inner strength in Buddhist philosophy. Listen closely, for today we shall explore the nature of inner strength, a strength not born from the body, but from the mind and heart. We all possess this power, though many of us do not realize it. We often look outside ourselves for validation, for approval, for guidance. Yet, the true source of power lies within. Let me ask you, have you ever noticed how easily your mood can shift? A word from someone, a small gesture, or a fleeting situation. These things can make us feel weak, defeated, or lost. We are quick to give away our peace of mind, reacting to every little thing that happens around us. Why is that? It is because we are not fully rooted in our own inner strength. We allow external events to sway us as though we are leaves in the wind. Buddhism teaches us that the mind is like water. When it is still, it reflects reality clearly. But when disturbed, it becomes cloudy, and we lose sight of what is true. Inner strength comes from learning how to calm this water, how to remain centered even when life becomes chaotic. This calmness is not a form of weakness, but a profound power. You see, strength does not mean being unshakable in the face of challenges. It means having the ability to respond to life with awareness and wisdom. Many think that reacting quickly and forcefully is a sign of strength. But true strength lies in patience, in taking a step back before we act. It comes from the space we create between an event and our reaction to it. Consider this. When someone speaks harshly to you, your first instinct might be to defend yourself, to argue back, or to feel hurt. But what if instead, you pause? You take a breath. In that brief moment, you regain control over yourself. You are no longer a slave to the situation or the other person's words. This is inner strength. Buddha himself once faced criticism and anger from others. He did not retaliate, nor did he allow their words to disturb his peace. He understood that their words were a reflection of their own minds, not his. His calmness, his inner strength, allowed him to remain unaffected. This is the essence of inner strength in Buddhist philosophy, to remain steady amidst the storm, knowing that the storm is not you. Now, let us speak of the ego. The ego is the part of us that seeks validation, that wants to be seen as strong, important, or right. But the ego is fragile. It constantly seeks approval from others, and when it doesn't get it, we feel hurt or angry. This is why we give our power away so easily. When someone challenges our ego, we feel the need to defend it, and in doing so, we lose our sense of inner peace. But what if we let go of the ego's need for validation? What if we stopped caring so much about how others see us and instead focused on how we see ourselves? In Buddhism, this is called non-attachment. We practice detachment not by becoming cold or indifferent, but by recognizing that our worth does not depend on external opinions. We are not our achievements, our failures, or what others think of us. We are much more than that. Our true self is beyond all these labels. When we practice non-attachment, we become free. Free from the constant need for approval, free from the fear of failure, free from the anxiety that arises when we think we are not good enough. This freedom is the foundation of inner strength. With it, we can move through life with confidence and calm, knowing that no one and nothing can take away our peace unless we allow it. Let us now turn to the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is one of the most powerful tools in cultivating inner strength. It is the practice of being fully present in the moment, of observing our thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. When we are mindful, we are able to see things as they truly are, not as our ego wants them to be. We can see when we are giving our power away, and we can choose to take it back. For instance, when you feel yourself becoming angry or upset, instead of reacting immediately, you can pause and observe your feelings. You might notice that your anger is not really about the situation at hand, but about an old wound, a fear, or an insecurity. By understanding the root of your emotions, you can respond with clarity and compassion, rather than with impulsiveness or frustration. This is true strength, the strength to choose how we respond to life. Buddhism teaches that life is full of challenges, but these challenges are not here to defeat us. They are opportunities for growth, for deepening our understanding of ourselves. Every time we face a difficult situation, we are given a chance to strengthen our mind and heart. Each challenge is like a stone that sharpens the blade of our inner strength. When we cultivate inner strength, we also develop compassion. Compassion for ourselves, for the times we have given our power away. Compassion for others who are also struggling with their own battles. In Buddhism, strength and compassion go hand in hand. To be strong is not to be hard or unfeeling, but to be open and understanding, both towards ourselves and others. As we continue on this path, remember that inner strength is not something that comes overnight. It is a practice, a journey. Each day offers new opportunities to grow stronger, more centered, more at peace. And with each step we take, we reclaim a little more of our power. You already have the strength you seek. It is within you, waiting to be discovered. Trust in this strength, cultivate it, and let it guide you through life's ups and downs. The role of ego and attachment in losing power. Let me ask you a question. How often do you find yourself hurt by someone's words, feeling as though a personal attack has been made against you? Maybe it was a comment about your abilities, or perhaps something deeper, like your values or beliefs. And when it happens, do you notice how quickly your mood shifts, how your mind begins to spin, and your emotions rise? You see, this is not uncommon. This is the way of the ego, sensitive, easily wounded, and always seeking validation. And this, my dear ones, is where we begin to lose our power. In Buddhism, ego is often referred to as a false sense of self, a mask we wear that tries to protect us but instead traps us. It convinces us that our worth is tied to the opinions of others, to material things, or to our status. But here's the truth. None of those things can ever define who we truly are. The more we attach ourselves to the ego, the more we give away our power. Imagine this. You walk into a room and someone criticizes you. Instantly, you feel hurt, maybe even angry. You begin to think about all the ways you could have avoided that comment. Or worse, you begin to think that maybe they are right. And just like that, you have handed over your inner peace to the opinion of another. Why? Because the ego thrives on approval. It seeks recognition and acceptance. When it doesn't receive these things, it crumbles, and so do we. This is the very nature of attachment. The ego attaches itself to external things, people's opinions, material wealth, and even ideas about who we think we should be. But Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. When we cling to things outside of ourselves, we inevitably lose control. We give away our power to things that are temporary, fleeting, and beyond our control. Think of it like this. If you hold a cup too tightly, your knuckles turn white, your hand stiffens, and it becomes uncomfortable. The tighter your grip, the more painful it becomes. This is what attachment feels like in our minds. The more we cling to things, whether it's a desire for approval or the fear of failure, the more we suffer, and the more power we give away. Buddhism invites us to loosen that grip, to see the ego for what it truly is. Just a thought, just a passing emotion, not the essence of who we are. When we stop identifying with the ego, we reclaim our power. We begin to understand that we are not defined by the opinions of others, nor are we controlled by the things we possess or the titles we hold. Our true nature is far beyond these things. Now, let's talk about attachment to ideas. We all have beliefs about how life should be, about what is right or wrong. But have you ever noticed how, when someone challenges your beliefs, you feel defensive? Your mind goes into battle mode, trying to prove that you are right and they are wrong. This, too, is attachment. You are attached to your ideas and, in doing so, you make them a part of your identity. But in Buddhism, we are taught that everything is impermanent. Ideas change, circumstances shift, and nothing stays the same. When we cling to our beliefs, we close ourselves off to new possibilities. We become rigid, unable to flow with life's natural changes. And once again, we lose our power. Instead of responding with wisdom, we react with defensiveness because the ego feels threatened. Let me share with you a simple story. There was once a man who was deeply attached to his possessions. He believed that his wealth defined him. One day, a storm came and destroyed his home. All his belongings were lost. He was devastated, feeling as though he had lost himself. But over time, as he sat with his grief, he began to realize something. His home, his possessions, were never truly who he was. They were just things, temporary and replaceable. He was still here, still breathing, still alive. In that moment, he understood that his true power came from within, not from what he owned. This is the power of letting go. When we release our attachment to external things, we find freedom. We discover that our inner peace is not dependent on what we have or how others see us. It is something that cannot be taken away, no matter what happens. The same goes for our attachment to relationships. Often, we give away our power in relationships by seeking approval or fearing rejection. We bend ourselves to fit into someone else's expectations, hoping they will love or accept us. But in doing so, we lose ourselves. We forget that true love comes from within and that no one else can give us the validation we seek. Buddhism teaches us that love is not about attachment. True love is about freedom. Freedom for yourself and the other person. When we let go of the need for approval, we stop giving our power away. We can love without fear, without clinging, and without losing ourselves in the process. Now, how do we begin to practice this in our daily lives? First, we must become aware of when the ego is at play. Notice the moments when you feel hurt, defensive, or overly concerned with what others think. These are clues that the ego is taking over. Instead of reacting, take a deep breath and remind yourself that you are not defined by these external things. Next, practice letting go. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, you will find that releasing attachment brings a deep sense of peace. Start small. Maybe it's letting go of the need to always be right, or the need for constant validation. Each time you do this, you reclaim a little bit of your power. Meditation is another powerful tool in this practice. When we meditate, we observe our thoughts without judgment. We see the ego's tricks for what they are, just fleeting thoughts. Through meditation, we learn to stay present and grounded, no matter what is happening around us. Remember, true power does not come from controlling others or proving yourself. It comes from knowing yourself, beyond the ego, beyond attachment. When you understand this, you will stop giving your power away to the things that do not serve you. In the end, it is not about fighting the ego or erasing it completely. The ego will always be there, whispering in the background. But with awareness and practice, you can choose not to listen. You can choose to stay connected to your true self, to the part of you that is beyond attachment, beyond fear, and beyond the need for approval. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom. The power of letting go, the power of reclaiming your inner peace, and the power of living from your true self. Each time you release an attachment, each time you step back from the ego, you are taking back your power. And that, my dear ones, is the path to true freedom. How compassion can overcome negative thoughts. Listen closely. Life is full of moments when negative thoughts sneak into our minds. Maybe you feel anger towards someone who has hurt you. Perhaps you are frustrated by your own mistakes. Or maybe there's fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. These thoughts can cloud the mind like stormy weather, making it hard to see clearly, hard to find peace. But there is a way to clear those clouds. The key lies in compassion. You see, compassion is more than just a kind act or a gentle word. Compassion is a deep understanding, a connection to others and ourselves. It's the ability to look at someone, even when they have wronged us, and see their suffering. It's the capacity to turn inward, to our own minds, and treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding. But how, you may ask, does compassion help with negative thoughts? When we are caught in anger, fear, or judgment, we often focus on what's wrong. We zero in on the problem and let it take over our entire view. The mind becomes a battlefield of emotions, and it's easy to get lost in this war. But compassion changes the way we see the world. Instead of seeing someone as an enemy or an obstacle, we begin to see their pain. Instead of seeing our own mistakes as failures, we see them as opportunities to grow. When you feel anger towards someone, stop for a moment. Breathe. Imagine the pain or confusion that person might be carrying. Perhaps they, too, are struggling with their own negative thoughts. Perhaps they act out of fear or frustration, just as you do. When you see their suffering, your heart begins to soften. Anger starts to dissolve. Compassion rises in its place. Think about the last time someone upset you. It could be a friend, a coworker, or even a stranger. At first, you probably felt the anger or irritation building inside. But now, Take a step back and ask yourself, what might that person be going through? Could they be having a hard day? Could they be dealing with stress or sorrow? When you shift your perspective in this way, something powerful happens. You start to see beyond the action that upset you, and you begin to understand the person behind it. This is where compassion lives. Now, this doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior. Compassion isn't about letting people walk all over you. It's about shifting your mindset. When you approach a situation with compassion, you don't get trapped in the cycle of anger and frustration. You break free from it. You regain your power because, instead of reacting with negativity, you respond with understanding. This shift, though small, has a huge impact on your peace of mind. And it's not just with others. Compassion must also be directed inward, to ourselves. So often, we are our own worst critics. We replay our mistakes over and over, like a broken record. I shouldn't have said that. Why did I do that? I'm not good enough. These thoughts echo in our minds, weighing us down. But ask yourself, would you speak to a friend this way? Would you tear them down the same way you tear down yourself? The answer is likely no. So why not show yourself the same compassion you would offer to someone else? When negative thoughts about yourself arise, pause. Breathe deeply. Instead of criticizing yourself, acknowledge that you are human, that you make mistakes, just like everyone else. Treat yourself with the kindness you deserve. This is not weakness, it's strength. When you learn to be gentle with yourself, you stop feeding the negative thoughts that arise. You let them pass like clouds in the sky, not clinging to them, not letting them control you. Compassion, when practiced consistently, transforms the mind. At first, it may feel strange or even difficult. You may find it hard to show kindness to those who hurt you, or to yourself when you've fallen short of your own expectations. But like any skill, it grows with practice. Each time you choose compassion, each time you shift from anger or judgment to understanding and kindness, you strengthen your ability to overcome negative thoughts. Buddhism teaches us about interconnectedness. The pain you feel, the anger that rises, the fear that grips you. All of these emotions are part of the human experience. Everyone, at some point, has felt them. And so, when you practice compassion, you are not only freeing yourself from negativity, but you are also helping others. You create a ripple effect. When someone treats you with kindness, doesn't it lift your spirits? In the same way, your compassion has the power to ease the suffering of others, even in small, subtle ways. Now, let us turn to the practice of compassion through mindfulness. When negative thoughts arise, don't fight them. Fighting only gives them more power. Instead, acknowledge them. See them for what they are, temporary feelings, passing thoughts. Breathe deeply, and as you exhale, imagine sending compassion to the person or situation that triggered these thoughts. If it's anger, send compassion to the person who upset you. If it's self-criticism, send compassion to yourself. Visualize the tension in your body releasing with each breath, as if compassion is a warm light washing over you. Through this practice, you begin to shift your mental patterns. You no longer react out of habit, allowing negative thoughts to spiral. Instead, you respond with awareness, with kindness, with compassion. Over time, you will find that these negative thoughts lose their grip on you. They no longer dictate your actions or mood. You are in control. Remember, compassion is not a one-time fix. It's a practice. It's something you return to again and again, especially when life feels difficult. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And soon, you will find that compassion is not just an act, it's a way of being. It's how you move through the world, how you interact with others, and how you treat yourself. So, the next time you find yourself overwhelmed by negative thoughts, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, how can I bring compassion to this moment? How can I soften my heart, both towards myself and others? You may be surprised at the peace and clarity that follows. Compassion, after all, is the greatest antidote to the storms of the mind. Compassion and wisdom as sources of inner power. Welcome back to this journey, where we continue to explore how not to give our power away to others. Today, let us dive into two very important aspects of our inner strength, compassion and wisdom. These are not just abstract ideas. They are real, living forces within us, waiting to be awakened. They are sources of great power, power that can help us navigate through life without losing ourselves to the world around us. First, let us talk about compassion. Compassion is often misunderstood. People think it's about feeling sorry for someone or being kind only when others are kind to us. But true compassion is much deeper. It is not about pity or weakness. It is about seeing the pain and struggles of others and responding with love and understanding. When you act from a place of compassion, you are not giving away your power. In fact, you are tapping into one of the strongest forces within yourself. Imagine this. Someone wrongs you or speaks to you in anger. In that moment, it's easy to react, to lash out, to defend yourself. But what if, instead, you took a breath and allowed compassion to fill your heart? You would see that their anger comes from their own pain, their own struggles. By choosing compassion, you rise above the situation. You no longer let their anger control you. You stay calm, peaceful, and in control. This is how compassion gives you power. It keeps you from being pulled into the negative energy of others. Buddhism teaches us that all beings suffer in one way or another. When you understand this, you begin to see that people's hurtful actions are often just a reflection of their own inner suffering. Compassion allows you to respond with kindness instead of anger. It allows you to stay grounded in your own peace, no matter what others do or say. But how do we cultivate compassion in a world that often seems so harsh? It starts with small steps. Begin by practicing kindness towards yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. When you learn to forgive yourself for your mistakes, when you show yourself love even in difficult moments, you are building the foundation of compassion. This self-compassion then naturally extends to others. Next, let us talk about wisdom. Wisdom is different from knowledge. Knowledge is about gathering facts and information. Wisdom, on the other hand, is about understanding life on a deeper level. It is about seeing things clearly without being clouded by emotions or attachments. In Buddhism, wisdom comes from seeing the truth of life, the truth that everything is temporary, that nothing stays the same. This is called impermanence. When you realize that every moment, every situation, and every emotion will pass, you stop clinging to things. You stop giving power to the opinions of others or to the ups and downs of life. Think about it. How many times have you let someone's words affect you deeply, only to realize later that those words didn't matter at all? Perhaps it was a harsh criticism or a judgment from someone close to you. In the moment, it felt like the end of the world. But with time, you saw that it wasn't as important as it seemed. This is the wisdom of impermanence. When you embrace this understanding, you stop letting external events control you. You remain strong and centered, knowing that everything will pass in time. Wisdom also teaches us about the nature of self. In Buddhism, we learn that the self is not fixed. It is constantly changing. The person you were 5 years ago is not the person you are today. And the person you will be 5 years from now will be different from who you are in this moment. When you understand this, you stop holding on to rigid ideas of who you are. You become more flexible, more open to change. This gives you great power, for it allows you to adapt to any situation without losing your sense of self. But wisdom doesn't come all at once. It is something we cultivate over time, through mindfulness and reflection. One way to develop wisdom is through meditation. In meditation, we quiet the mind and observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. We begin to see the patterns in our thinking, the ways in which we react to life. Over time, we gain clarity. We see things as they really are, not as we want them to be. When you combine compassion and wisdom, you become truly powerful. Compassion allows you to connect with others in a deep and meaningful way, while wisdom helps you navigate life with clarity and peace. Together, they create a strong foundation that keeps you from giving your power away. Let's consider a simple example. Imagine you are at work and a colleague takes credit for something you did. Your first reaction might be anger or frustration. You might feel powerless, thinking that this is unfair. But instead of reacting, you pause. You take a breath. You remember compassion. Maybe your colleague is struggling with insecurity. Maybe they feel unnoticed. You also remember wisdom. This situation, like all others, will pass. By staying calm and composed, you do not give your power away to anger or frustration. You remain in control, and you respond from a place of peace and understanding. This is the power of combining compassion and wisdom. You don't let the actions of others dictate how you feel or behave. You stay true to yourself while also extending kindness to those around you. This doesn't mean you allow others to walk over you. Compassion is not about being passive. It's about responding with strength and love, even in difficult situations. In Buddhism, we learn that the true source of power lies within. It is not something we get from the outside world. It is something we cultivate within ourselves through practices like mindfulness, meditation, and reflection. When we understand this, we stop giving our power away to others. We stop letting external circumstances control us. Instead, we remain grounded in our own inner strength, guided by compassion and wisdom. So, as we continue this journey, remember this. The power to stay in control of your life, your emotions, and your reactions lies within you. Compassion and wisdom are your guides. They will help you navigate the ups and downs of life without losing your center. They will help you stay strong, peaceful, and in control, no matter what happens around you. The world can be chaotic, and people will always have their opinions and judgments. But when you are grounded in compassion and wisdom, none of that can shake you. You will move through life with grace and strength, always knowing that the true power lies within you. The middle way, balance between self and others. In life, we often find ourselves swinging between two extremes. Sometimes, we focus too much on ourselves, our needs, our desires, our goals. Other times, we focus too much on others, losing sight of our own well-being as we try to meet the expectations of family, friends, or society. This constant pull between self and others can leave us feeling unbalanced, lost, or even powerless. But there is a path that can help us find balance, a way that allows us to walk with peace and harmony. This is what the Buddha called the middle way. It is neither a life of extreme indulgence nor a life of complete self-denial. Instead, it's a path of moderation, where we learn to balance our needs with the needs of others, to find harmony between taking care of ourselves and being there for those around us. You see, when we focus too much on ourselves, we become attached to our desires. We want things to go our way, and when they don't, we suffer. We hold on tightly to what we want, afraid of losing it. But this attachment only leads to more pain. On the other hand, when we focus only on others, we lose ourselves. We forget to take care of our own well-being, and we end up drained, with no energy left to give. So how do we walk this middle way? How do we find balance in our daily lives, especially in a world that often pushes us toward extremes? The key lies in mindfulness and understanding. We must learn to observe our thoughts and actions, to notice when we are leaning too far in one direction or the other. And when we notice, we gently guide ourselves back to the center, back to balance. Think of it like walking on a tightrope. If you lean too far to one side, you risk falling. But with practice, you learn to adjust, to keep your body steady. Life is much the same. With mindfulness, we can learn to adjust our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions, keeping ourselves steady as we move through the world. One of the main teachings of Buddhism is that all things are interconnected. This means that when we care for ourselves, we are also caring for others. And when we care for others, we are also caring for ourselves. The two are not separate. If you burn yourself out by focusing only on others, you will have nothing left to give. But if you take care of yourself, if you nurture your own mind and body, you will have the energy and strength to help others in a meaningful way. Let's explore this further. When we speak of balance between self and others, we are not saying that we should give equal time and energy to both at every moment. Life is not that rigid. Some days, you may need to focus more on yourself. Maybe you're tired, stressed, or overwhelmed, and taking time for self-care is necessary. Other days, you may need to focus more on others, offering support, listening, or helping someone in need. The middle way is not about following strict rules. It's about being flexible, about listening to what the moment requires. It's about understanding that life is fluid and that balance is something we continually adjust as we move forward. Imagine a river flowing through a valley. At times, the water may rush quickly, carving out a path through the rocks. At other times, it may flow gently, meandering through the land. The river does not force its way. It adapts to the landscape, finding its way through without resistance. This is the essence of the middle way. It's about flowing with life, adjusting to the circumstances, and finding balance as we move forward. In practical terms, how can we apply this to our daily lives? Start by paying attention to your own needs and the needs of others. When you wake up in the morning, take a moment to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Are you energized or are you tired? What do you need today to feel balanced? Then, as you move through your day, notice the people around you. Are there moments when someone needs your help, your time, or your attention? How can you offer support without losing your own balance? This might mean setting boundaries, saying no when you need to, even if it feels uncomfortable. It might mean taking a few minutes to meditate or breathe deeply before responding to a stressful situation. Buddhism teaches us that everything is temporary. Our emotions, our thoughts, even the situations we face, they all change with time. By remembering this, we can avoid getting stuck in one extreme or the other. If you find yourself overwhelmed by the needs of others, remind yourself that it's okay to step back and take care of yourself. If you find yourself overly focused on your own desires, remind yourself that true happiness comes from connection and compassion. The middle way is not just a philosophical idea, it's a practice. And like any practice, it takes time and patience. You won't always get it right. There will be days when you lean too far one way or the other. But that's okay. The key is to notice, to be aware, and to gently guide yourself back to balance. In Buddhism, there is a concept called upaya, or skillful means. This refers to the idea that we must use the right tools for the right situation. Sometimes, the tool we need is self-care, taking time to rest, meditate, or nurture our own well-being. Other times, the tool we need is compassion, offering our time, energy, and support to others. The middle way is about knowing which tool to use at the right time, and using it with mindfulness and wisdom. As we continue on this path, remember that balance is not something we achieve once and then forget. It's something we continually cultivate. Each day is an opportunity to practice the middle way, to find harmony between self and others, and to live with greater peace and purpose. Take a moment now to reflect. Where in your life are you leaning too far in one direction? Are you focusing too much on your own desires, your own needs? Or are you giving too much of yourself to others without taking time to care for yourself? Wherever you are, it's okay. The middle way is always available to you, and with mindfulness and practice, you can find your way back to balance. Let's walk this path together with awareness, with compassion, and with a deep commitment to living a life of balance and harmony. This is the middle way, the path that leads to true freedom and peace. The power of detachment in overcoming external control. In life, we often find ourselves tangled in the opinions and expectations of others. It's like being caught in a web. Every time we seek approval or allow someone's words to dictate our feelings, we give away a piece of our power. But what if I told you there is a way to break free from this web? Detachment is that way. Detachment doesn't mean that you stop caring. It means you learn to separate your self-worth from others' judgments. It's like floating on a calm river. You can see the beautiful scenery around you, but you aren't pulled by the current. You remain grounded. When you practice detachment, you observe your thoughts and feelings without being swept away by them. Imagine a flower in a garden. The flower stands tall, absorbing sunlight and water. It blooms beautifully, but it does not cling to the soil or the sun. If a storm comes, the flower bends but does not break. It remains true to itself. This is how we can be in life. We can embrace the world around us without losing our inner peace. In Buddhism, detachment is a vital lesson. The Buddha taught that suffering often arises from attachment. When we cling to people, possessions, or even ideas, we create a bond that can lead to pain. For example, think about a friendship. If you are overly attached to that friend's opinion of you, any slight criticism can hurt deeply. But when you practice detachment, you can appreciate the friendship without allowing it to define you. You understand that your worth comes from within, not from how someone else sees you. Detachment also allows us to navigate difficult emotions. Picture a hot air balloon. When it's filled with air, it floats high, free from the ground below. However, if we start to tie ourselves down with worries and fears, we become heavy and sink. Letting go of these weights through detachment lifts us back into the sky. Now, let's talk about practical ways to cultivate detachment in our lives. First, practice mindfulness. Being mindful means being present in the moment without judgment. When you notice your thoughts spiraling, or when you feel pressured by someone else's expectations, take a step back. Breathe deeply and observe your feelings. Are they coming from within, or are they influenced by someone else? Next, try to reflect on your values. What truly matters to you? Spend time identifying what you cherish in life. When you know your values, it becomes easier to let go of others' opinions. For instance, if you value honesty, you will find it easier to speak your truth, even if it's not what someone else wants to hear. Another practice is gratitude. When you focus on what you are grateful for, it shifts your mindset from what you lack to what you have. This perspective helps lessen the hold of external control. You begin to appreciate your journey, your achievements, and the people who truly support you. Detachment also involves understanding impermanence. Everything in life is temporary, including our relationships and emotions. When you acknowledge this truth, it becomes easier to let go. Like clouds passing in the sky, emotions and situations come and go. They do not define us. Recognizing this can help you remain balanced and serene in the face of challenges. When someone criticizes you, instead of reacting immediately, take a moment. Ask yourself, why is this bothering me? Is it their opinion or my fear of being judged? This reflection can help you detach from the sting of their words. You may find that their criticism has more to do with them than it does with you. Additionally, surround yourself with positive influences. Seek relationships that uplift you. Spend time with people who understand the power of detachment themselves. This creates an environment that nurtures your growth. You become less affected by negativity when you have a strong support system. It's also helpful to set boundaries. Know where you end and others begin. You have the right to say no. If someone asks too much of you, it's okay to decline. Your time and energy are precious. By respecting your boundaries, you protect your inner peace. As you practice these principles, you will notice a shift in how you interact with the world. You will become less reactive and more responsive. Life's challenges will no longer feel like burdens, but rather opportunities for growth. Detachment allows you to engage with life fully without being overwhelmed by it. Embrace the journey of learning to let go. Just as a tree sheds its leaves in autumn, you too can release what no longer serves you. This process may take time, and that's okay. Each small step you take toward detachment is a step toward reclaiming your power. In conclusion, remember that detachment is not about isolation. It is about connecting with yourself while allowing others to be who they are. As you learn to detach, you'll find greater joy in life. You will discover that true freedom lies not in the approval of others, but in the acceptance of yourself. The power to choose your responses, to hold your peace, and to stand tall like the flower in the garden is always within you. Meditation and self-mastery in Buddhist practice. In the stillness of the morning, as the world awakens, there lies a powerful tool waiting for you: meditation. It's a practice that has been cherished for thousands of years, especially in Buddhism. But what is meditation, really? It's more than just sitting quietly. It's about connecting with your inner self, finding peace, and mastering your mind. Imagine a calm lake. The surface is smooth, reflecting the beauty around it. This is what your mind can become through meditation. When you sit quietly and focus, you can clear away the waves of thoughts and distractions that often cloud your mind. This clarity allows you to see your true self. Many people think meditation is hard or boring. They worry they won't be able to stop their thoughts. But the truth is, everyone has thoughts. It's part of being human. Instead of trying to stop them, meditation teaches you to observe them. Imagine your thoughts as leaves floating down a stream. You watch them go by without grabbing them. This practice helps you detach from the chaos and find stillness. Start with just a few minutes each day. Find a quiet space where you feel comfortable. Sit or lie down in a position that feels right for you. Close your eyes gently and take a deep breath in. Feel the air fill your lungs, then slowly exhale. Focus on your breath. Notice how it feels as you breathe in and out. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Just gently guide it back to your breath. As you practice this, you may notice that your thoughts start to slow down. You become more aware of your feelings and reactions. This awareness is the first step towards self-mastery. Instead of reacting impulsively to situations, you begin to respond with intention. This is true power. In Buddhism, there's a term called mindfulness. It means being present and fully engaged in the moment. Meditation is a doorway to mindfulness. When you meditate, you cultivate this awareness, allowing you to carry it into your daily life. You'll find that you can approach challenges with a calm mind and a steady heart. Let's consider a simple example. Picture a busy day at work. You have deadlines, meetings, and emails piling up. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, right? But if you take just 5 minutes to meditate, you can reset your mind. You step away from the chaos and center yourself. When you return, you'll notice that you feel clearer, more focused, and better equipped to handle whatever comes your way. Meditation also helps us understand our emotions. Often, we react based on feelings like anger or sadness without thinking. But through meditation, we learn to sit with our feelings. We recognize them without judgment. This practice allows us to process our emotions instead of letting them control us. Over time, you'll find that you're less reactive and more in control of your feelings. Buddhism teaches us that life is full of ups and downs. The key is to remain steady, like that calm lake. Meditation gives us the tools to do just that. When we practice regularly, we build resilience. We learn that challenges are not obstacles but opportunities for growth. As we journey deeper into meditation, we also explore compassion. When we take time to understand ourselves, we become better at understanding others. We cultivate empathy and kindness. Imagine how the world would change if everyone practiced this. Many ancient Buddhist texts speak of the power of meditation. They tell stories of monks who achieved great wisdom and peace through their practice. These stories remind us that meditation is not just for monks, it's for everyone. No matter where you are in life, you can benefit from taking time to meditate. In your practice, it's important to be patient with yourself. Just like learning a new skill, meditation takes time. Some days you may feel peaceful, and other days, your mind may feel busy. That's okay. Each session is a step forward. Celebrate the small victories, like sitting for just a few minutes longer or noticing your thoughts more clearly. As you continue to practice, you might explore different types of meditation. Some people enjoy guided meditations where someone leads them through the process. Others prefer silent meditation, focusing only on their breath. You can try various styles to see what resonates with you. Don't forget the importance of a consistent routine. Try to meditate at the same time each day. This could be in the morning to start your day calmly, or at night to unwind. The key is to make it a habit. Over time, you'll notice how meditation enhances your life. Remember, meditation is a journey, not a destination. There is no perfect way to do it. The most important thing is to show up for yourself. As you develop your practice, you may find that your perspective on life shifts. You'll learn to appreciate the present moment and recognize the beauty in everyday experiences. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, meditation offers a refuge. It's a space to reconnect with yourself, to recharge, and to find clarity. As you explore meditation, you'll discover that it is one of the most powerful tools for self-mastery. Embrace this journey with an open heart, and you will transform not only yourself but also the world around you. So take a deep breath, dear friend. With each inhale, welcome calmness and clarity. With each exhale, let go of tension and distractions. Allow meditation to guide you towards your true self, the self that is powerful, peaceful, and present. Embrace the journey of self-discovery and let the practice of meditation illuminate your path. Letting go of the need for validation. As we walk through life, we often seek approval from others. This desire can come from friends, family, or society as a whole. We want to feel accepted, loved, and valued. But what happens when we tie our self-worth to how others see us? The answer is often disheartening. We give away our power, making ourselves vulnerable to the opinions and judgments of others. In Buddhism, there is a profound teaching that helps us understand this tendency. It reminds us that true worth comes from within, not from outside sources. When we seek validation from others, we may find temporary comfort, but this comfort is fleeting. Just like a butterfly landing on a flower, it's beautiful for a moment, but it cannot stay forever. When the butterfly flies away, we are left feeling empty. Imagine this. You post a photo online, eagerly waiting for likes and comments. Each notification gives you a little boost. But what happens when the likes don't come? You may feel disappointment, sadness, or even frustration. This is the danger of seeking validation externally. We become like a leaf tossed in the wind, swaying this way and that based on others' reactions. Buddhism teaches us the importance of self-acceptance. This means recognizing that you are enough just as you are. Your value is inherent. It does not depend on someone else's approval. This might seem challenging, especially in a world filled with social media and constant comparisons. However, understanding this can be liberating. To let go of the need for validation, we can start with mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment. It helps us observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When you notice yourself seeking approval, take a step back. Ask yourself, why do I need this validation? Often, you'll find that it stems from fear. Fear of being rejected, fear of not being enough. Once you recognize this fear, you can begin to let it go. Imagine your mind as a clear, still lake. Each time you seek approval, it creates ripples on the surface. But if you stop and breathe deeply, those ripples fade. Your mind returns to stillness, and you can see clearly again. Another helpful practice is gratitude. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. Instead of seeking validation, start appreciating your own qualities. Write down 3 things you love about yourself each day. They could be simple things like your kindness, your creativity, or even your ability to listen. Over time, this practice builds self-worth from within. Let's also consider the concept of impermanence, a core teaching in Buddhism. Everything changes: people, situations, and feelings. When you tie your worth to something impermanent, like others' opinions, you create a fragile foundation. It can crumble at any moment. But when you understand that your true self is unchanging, you begin to see the beauty in your being, regardless of external validation. The journey to self-acceptance may have its ups and downs. You might find yourself slipping back into old habits of seeking approval. That's okay. Each time you notice this, gently bring your focus back to your inner self. Treat yourself with compassion. Just as a flower needs sunlight and water to grow, you need kindness and patience to bloom. As you practice letting go of the need for validation, you'll notice a shift in how you interact with the world. Instead of looking to others for approval, you will start making choices based on what feels right for you. You'll find joy in your own company, appreciating your thoughts and feelings without needing someone else's nod of approval. Think about how much energy you spend seeking validation. Now imagine redirecting that energy inward. What passions could you explore? What dreams could you chase? You might discover new interests, deepen existing relationships, or even embark on a path of personal growth. When you stop seeking validation, you create space for your true self to shine. In summary, letting go of the need for validation is a profound act of self-love. It allows you to reclaim your power and live authentically. By practicing mindfulness, gratitude, and compassion, you can build a strong foundation of self-worth. Remember, you are enough just as you are, without needing anyone else's approval. Embrace this journey with an open heart. The more you let go of the need for validation, the more you'll discover your true self. As you walk this path, remember that every step you take is a step towards freedom. You are the master of your own life, and your worth is as vast as the sky. The liberation of non-reactivity. In our busy lives, we often encounter many situations that can stir our emotions. Some days, it feels like everything is trying to push our buttons. A rude comment from a stranger, a disagreement with a friend, or unexpected news can all lead us to react strongly. But what if I told you that you have the power to choose how you respond? This is where the practice of non-reactivity becomes essential. Others. In Buddhism, compassion is seen as a source of strength. When we approach situations with empathy, we are less likely to feel threatened by others' words or actions. Instead, we recognize that everyone is on their journey, facing their own struggles. Imagine a situation where someone is angry or frustrated. Instead of taking their anger personally, you can choose to respond with compassion. You might think, they are suffering, and their anger is not about me. This shift in perspective helps us remain centered and empowered. It reinforces the idea that their feelings do not diminish our worth or power. Let's also remember the power of letting go. Holding on to grudges, past hurts, or expectations can weigh us down. Buddhism teaches that attachment leads to suffering. When we let go of the need for validation from others, we free ourselves. This liberation allows us to live authentically and pursue what truly brings us joy and fulfillment. Think about a time when you felt burdened by someone else's opinion. Perhaps you tried to please everyone, losing sight of your own desires. By practicing detachment, you can release the need for external approval. You can trust that your worth comes from within, not from what others think or say. As we conclude, let us not forget the practice of meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating inner peace and clarity. Through regular practice, we can quiet the noise of the mind and connect with our true selves. In this space of stillness, we can listen to our inner voice, guiding us toward our authentic path. Incorporate meditation into your daily routine, even if it's just for a few minutes. Find a quiet place, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Allow your thoughts to come and go without judgment. With time, you will find that this practice strengthens your ability to stay present and resilient in the face of life's challenges. As you move forward in your life, carry these teachings with you. Remember that you are not alone in your struggles. Everyone experiences moments of doubt, frustration, and pain. But within those moments lies the opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Embrace your journey with an open heart. Allow yourself to feel, to learn, and to grow. Your power is not defined by others. It is defined by your ability to stay true to yourself, even when faced with adversity. In summary, reclaiming your power is an ongoing practice. It requires awareness, mindfulness, compassion, and the courage to let go. Each step you take towards self-empowerment strengthens your resilience and enhances your ability to navigate life's ups and downs. Let this journey be a reminder that you have the power to shape your reality. By embracing the teachings of Buddhism, you can cultivate a life filled with peace, joy, and authenticity. Your path may not always be easy, but remember, it is yours to walk. Trust in your strength and let your light shine brightly in the world.